Okay, so today, what was the motion? Wait. Mm, Okay, let's just start. Um, First of all, I'm encouraged to tell you to open your cameras, and secondly, I will be timing you, but it would be better if you're also timing yourself. And without further ado, let's start the debate with the first speaker of the government side of the house. Time and place are yours.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Starting my speech in three, two, one. The increasing of the heat temperature of Earth already told you that already told you that the environmental problem is really problematic, and it is it is must put as the first attention for the people to be as a priority of a problem that we should solve at the very first time, right? There are many cases why the hits of global or even the environmental pollution is happening. uh, one of them is the activity of the if the clothing industry, which is really fast, that always produce everything according to the demand of the people, or even they instantly produce the clothes, for example, just for sell the people without caring about without caring about the environmental issues, or even without caring about the worker in the factory itself, right? So that's why here, as a government team side of the house, who really care about first the environmental ethics problem, for example, and who really cares about how the people are being so consumptive, because Zara, Erigo, kind of brands producing some new clothes according to the trend, which is really fast, quickly move according to the demand of the people, is really bad first for the you know for the for the sake of the environment, and for the sake of the worker itself, right? Before going to my burden of proof, I'm going to introduce my team. My name is Abi. I'm going to explain in principle why is fast fashion is not good, and it is not relevant to the problem of environment itself. And Ayu will talk about will talk more in practical, how do we live the fast fashion itself, and move the taste of the people into like a new kind of fashion, which is more friendly to the environment itself. And Sophia, as my third speaker will conclude and doing some responses, even rebuttals to the opposition of the house itself. But notice that definition of fast fashion, that fast fashion is a term for industry that move quickly to meet new trends, right? For example, Zara is in the spring season will produce like a spring clothing, which is relate to the which is relate to the needs of the people according to the season. And next in the and moving on to the next season, for example, like rain season, they will quickly move the production into like cold wearing, or so on and so forth, right? For example, but the cotton, or even the material using of this brand is really quick, and it is bad for the people, because according to the data, for example, uh, the fast fashion production only produce a cloth which is just, which is just can be used for 5 to 6 months. What does that mean? It means in next few months you are going to buy new clothes, and you are going to be like, you are going to be very very prodigal, and you are going to be very consumptive, and it's, it cause your demand of your needs of cloth, for example, will give demand to the industry to always produce, which is really bad for the environmental itself, right? But that is why the production by the industry, which is quick and fast, is really bad for the environmental pollution under three reasons, right? First, uh, a the production is always use the cheap and dangerous textile dyes, right? Like they always have the tendency to use the cheap and dangerous pewarna to make the cloth, right? So that's why, when it goes to the water, it goes to the water pollution, it will always bad for the, for the human health itself, right? Because they use the cheap and dangerous textile material, right? So that's why it is very unjustifiable for industry to produce it with a cheap and dangerous, and in a, in a range, in a quick range of time, right? And second reason, according to the fact that the fast fashion is using the polyester material, which is, polyester material to make the cotton, which is made from the fossil, where when we wash the cloth, for example, it will create like more, it will create like like serat that cause more plastic, which is bad for the environment, right? We also deal with the problem, for example, the problem of how the water irrigation from house to house will flow to the sea, for example, which is bad to the ecosystem of the sea itself. So that's why we think that we need to even leave or even minimize the use of fast fashion, or even we are going to, even as a government, for example, we need to restrict or strict the productions of the fast fashion from the industry itself. And lastly, why it is bad for the environmental pollution, right? Because the use of, the industry of fast fashion causes the loss of animal itself, right? For example, like Zara, for example, is creating new wallet from the skin of snake, for example, or of the skin of, the skin of alligator, for example, which is really bad for the rights of the animal itself, right? So that's why we think that leaving the fast fashion, or even minimize or restrict the production of the industry, is the only way to solve the problem of environmental issues, right? But what kind of world we want to live in? We want to live in by leaving the fast fashion itself. Number one, we're going to just let the people to necessarily produce the thing itself, right? But why it is justifiable for us to leave the fast fashion itself? Number one, the trend of fast fashion is exciting the people to, to use more and buy more, and the demand of the people who buy will always cause the, the industry to produce. And second, it is really bad for, number one, the worker, because mostly the fast fashion industry is existing in the developing country like Bangladesh, Indonesia, or Thailand, for example. And lastly, it is very bad for the environmental living and the global heat warming, which is now very problematic thing.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for the speech. Now let's welcome Leader of Opposition. Excuse me, you're still muted.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you can restart your speech.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm as the first speaker of opposite team. I would like to deliver my argument. Past passion is a concept of rapid passion change over a period of time for ready-to-wear clothes. For example, during the summer, the fashion trend will adjust to the design and materials for summer. Then in winter, it will change again. In effect, because according to the label, this model does not only change according to the season, but every month. Every month. Several years ago, this concept became a trend and was considered innovative to meet the increasing needs of the clothing world. The focus of this business is how to produce goods at the lowest possible cost in order to meet consumer demands that change rapidly and at affordable price. The trick is to make a limited quantity, then take advantage of the psychological response of humans who are attracted to limited edition goods. This is what makes it have a high turnover and is loved by consumer. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 1915s, if the woman want to purchase a ready-made dress, she could spend about 10 US dollar or 772 in today's dollar to order an item from a search catalog. Today, a shopper could walk into Forever 21 and buy a simple dress for about 12 US dollar to price of an article of clothing today, along with the cost of material, labor, and supply chain logistic required for increation is achieved. Fashion affects the social aspect of life. According to Luciana Zagiano, fashion causes change in social, economic, and political landscapes. The fashion benefit and stimulate society in the process promoting creativity. As a far advantage for the consumer, fast fashion has enabled people to get the clothes they want when they want them. Also, it's made clothing more affordable and not just any clothing, but innovative, imaginative, stylish clothing. No longer is the latest look or being well dressed or having a large with wardrobe the propines of the rich and famous. For the reason advocate argue fast fashion has had democratizing influence on fashion and on society. Even those of modest means can constantly buy smart new clothes. With regard to policy debate, it means how conditions are inviting a good or bad analysis of them. For example, the countries are now trying to maintain a status quo with regard to their nuclear arsenal, which will have them if the situation gets any worse. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech, Leader of Opposition. Let's welcome Deputy Prime Minister to the debate.
Am I audible?
Yes, clear.
I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, realizing that the problem that we face right now is that this company the fast fashion company or industry causing a pollution, causing a water pollution and etc. As my first speaker already told you, um, we all agree that we as a human want to live in a world which it's really safe for human, and it's not dangerous for human and etc. Respond to the case that the opposition team brought is that first they talk about on how these fast fashion are affordable for the society, on how these clothes are fashionable and it's easy for them to get what kind of model that they want, etc. But ladies and gentlemen, doesn't mean when the clothes is affordable, but the quality of those clothes is also good, right? So we as the government team, we say that it's better for you to buy a good quality rather than a bad quality, because we say that long time ago we wear the clothes we can wear those clothes for like 4 or 3 years, right? Even if it's expensive or high price. Nowadays um nowadays the customer buy those clothes only for like 6 months or 8 months for affordable price. It's really not good for the future, for our next generation, right? we say um we say we say that it's really not environment in we say it's really not environmentally friendly, right? Because every year there are new trend and you have to buy it and etc, right? The trust from these clothes are so many, and it can cause the pollution, as my first speaker already told you. Panel, if you have ever watched the documentary that made by the BBC itself, that how this company actually work, this company wouldn't tell you their secret. First of all, as the government team, we will tell you the secret of this industry, such as Zara, for example. If they could not sell all their clothes, they will burn it. Why is that so? Because first of all, it's so expensive. It's so expensive for them to reproduce, reproduce or remake those clothes, right? So they burn it. Why they burn? Because they're afraid of the stigma or their image of their customer. Their customer wouldn't buy this product if they know that this product are because they wouldn't buy this, because they wouldn't buy Zara product if they know that they have so many clothes that hasn't that hasn't been sold out itself. Ladies and gentlemen, we say, ladies and gentlemen, as my first speaker as my first speaker already told you, that the fast fashion industry usually use cheap and dangerous textile dyes, which can cause water pollution and pose a risk to a human health itself. Ladies and gentlemen, we need the awareness from the society itself to stop, or to live fast fashion itself. How to live fast fashion itself? First of all, we are going to buy or shop second-hand clothes, right? Because it's really friendly, because it's really environmental friendly, and it could help it could save our health, our earth itself. Ladies and gentlemen, by living this kind of fast fashion, we're helping, or we're stopping this company to harming our environment, which is it's really dangerous for our future itself. Ladies and gentlemen, realizing on how this company treaten their worker, or how in developing country this worker having a low salary with high, like they work for like 14 hours per day. It's And they having a low salary, which it's really not good for you. If you don't want to support this company, you have to leave or stopping the fast fashion itself and moving to the second hand clothes, right? Because even the second hand clothes, it's really, the quality is really good, right? So we don't want to consuming a lot a lot more clothes every year because this company changing the fashion every year. They want you to spend a lot of your money to buy their product, right? Because we say that the quality is really standard and it's quickly broken. It's good for you to buy the product which is a bit expensive, but it's still good after like 4 or 3 years, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, um, Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine how this company or the fast fashion industry, they produce the clothes or the skirt as much as they can year by year? Can you imagine that how this could be harmful, harming our environment, which is it's really not good for us as the open-minded society to support this company. How to stop the behavior or the act of this company? First, we're going to leaving the fast fashion itself. We are not supporting this company to save our environment, ladies and gentlemen. As as I as I already told you that we will give you the alternative if you leave this kind of fast fashion. First is that you can shop or buy a second-hand clothes, which is really good and environmentally friendly for everyone, for the next generation, and for this company to realizing that what they are doing is not good for our environment, for human health, for example. Uh, and and we say that this we should not support this company by continuously consuming their product, which it's really not good. That the several reasons that I have already told you before, that it's good for us to leave this fast fashion and moving to the shop second hand clothes, which is really good to save our earth, to to um, to support to uh, to to support the people who are aware to the environmental problem, and etc. By this reason, I beg to support this motion.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister, for this speech. Now let's welcome the Deputy Leader of Opposition.
Okay. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am the second speaker of opposite team. So, firstly, I want to rebate what your second speaker said, that he said that we could buy nicer stuff than bad stuff, right? But which mean the price must be more expensive. More expensive that. But what about the people who don't have enough money? So that's why I'll explain to you about fast fashion. Firstly, I will explain you what is fashion. Firstly, fashion is important in a society because it has the potential to bring a different people together to celebrate their own individuality. The best way to enjoy a fashion is to wear what you love and yourself. In a modern society, we place a fashion to hike on the scale. So the second is how does a fashion impact a society? Fashion affect the social aspect of a life. Does fashion benefit and stimulate the society? In the process of promoting creativity, fashion also has a. So I'm sorry. So how fast is fashion? For example, the traditional fashion is also follow the annual cycle of summer, autumn, winter, and spring. But in fast fashion, cycle have compressed into a shorter period of until 4 to 6 weeks, and some
Yeah,
cases less than this. No, thank you. So fast fashion, I will explain you what is the advantage of fast fashion. First, fast fashion is so affordable with the help of fast fashion. Today, consumer can buy a new trendy clothing at a very low price. They can afford the latest article and stay styles regularly because they are cheaply made. Fast fashion accelerates supply chains and drive costs down to meet constantly evolving consumer demands. Fast fashion brand and retailers employ factories in the faraway countries where labor costs are very low. Where's the camera? very low. They offer jobs to local underdeveloped communities trying to make a living. Maybe cheaper than So they launch new garments every week and often cut their levels of very early jumping on the new trends become a competition. Thank you. They encourage a new and a returning customer to visit the store and buy new clothes as often as possible. New style replace old designer with very little stock. So fast fashion creates an impulse shopping culture. It drives the demand for designer items and fashionable clothes available for less money. So ladies and gentlemen, there are many style choices. Fast fashion creates new style every week. Design and production time has decreased dramatically. Many fashion brands and retailers can sketch, produce, and distribute new garments inspired by the latest trend in a very short time. The large variety of style choices is very appealing to buyers. Fashion designer and brand often partner with social media personalities and celebrities to advertise their new collection, right? Fashion Nova is a fast fashion brand that has been growing exponentially with the support of many influence producer. Well, I'm sorry. It produces what is new seller every week. It's a CAO Richard Sagan say he turned fast fashion into ultra fast fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, fast fashion is available everywhere. It's difficult to ignore fast fashion because it's everywhere. It's a very practical for a consumer to be able to shop for a new trendy clothes either on the internet or in the high street stores. For example, Zara is one of the most well-known fast fashion retailer giants. The company produces all types of clothing, what again, shoes, and accessories. Zara is the largest company in the Inditex group, the world's largest apparel retailer. There are total 2,259, right? And Zara have 96 countries in the world, in the whole world. Before the Industrial Revolution, the world of fashion was primitive, small, slow, and local. Once the large majority of a consumer can got accustomed to clothes become cheaper, easier, and quicker to make, they started to love the idea of a mass-produced clothing. So the fast fashion industry is now a global phenomenon. People enjoy buying looks and outfit inspired by runaway shows at a fraction of the price, but the planet and the beings living on it are paying the price for fast fashion. For fashion is also responsible for a big profit, especially if a manufacturer is able to jump on a trend before the competition. The speed at which fast fashion move trends to help retails avoid the markdowns, which cut into a margin. If there are any losses, fast fashion companies are able to recover quickly, to recover by launching a new clothing line, design, or product. As for advantage for the consumer, fast fashion has enabled people to get the clothes they want when they want them. Also, it made clothing more affordable, and not just any clothing, but innovative, imaginative, stylish clothing. No longer is a latest look or being well dressed or having a large wardrobe the province of the rich and famous. For that reason, advocates argue fast fashion has had a democratic influence on fiction and on society. Even those of modest means can constantly buy smart new clothes. So what is my solution is, instead of what about wait, what about fashion clothes that are no longer worn will have a negative impact on the environment, right? But what we can do after instead of disposing their unsold product, we can do recycle or donate it. So thank you, that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Deputy Leader of Opposition. Let's welcome the government whip.
First, Kak, I'm sorry, I cannot turn on my camera because of the connection problem.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, but before going to my argument, I'll give some rebuttal towards the opposition benches. Okay, first rebuttal. On how they talk on how past patient on how past patient like they worried about some on how some people could not buy patient, but past patient all cannot buy past patient because of the expensive price that the another like you know like a brand expensive that they provide. But past patient also provide like you know they also provide us expensive clothes with which is but with less quality. If it's expensive, there are alternative like alternative like rags, aka second hand clothes to reduce clothing waste, which is so much affordable compared to fast fashion, right? And the second one is on the idea on how the fast fashion hard to ignore since you can find it and anywhere. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, we know that buying now new clothes or fast fashion can provide your instant gratification, which is why it can be difficult to resist the full of from fast fashion brands, right? But it's not justified if we still stick on the idea, on this idea on the fast fashion. You have to consider on how the fast fashion gives so much bad impact towards our world of this fast fashion, with being one of the leading to contributors to what water pollution, where accumulation and carbon emission and many more environmental issues. So that is why we have to propose this motion because of. Yep, and also my second speaker first and a second speaker already taught you on how this participation is so bad, especially in our towards our environment, on how they harming our environment. We will to leave this participation to reduce the bad impact, the to back the bad impact that on the environment. And yeah, I'm going to my okay. As a consumer, we have like enough power to change our environment by just being careful for what we buy. Like okay. Further, as my first speaker already taught you that fast fashion is very dangerous for our environmental and also can affect our health. Furthermore, brand use cheap clothes have a terrible impact not only on not this fast fashion have a terrible impact not only on workers who produce them, but also on the environment. Fast fashion relies on like less expensive materials such okay on how yep, less material such as quality polyester. For example, very often we are not even aware that retail change their stock on yep, regular basis in order to keep the customer coming back. This material that clothing manufacturer have to produce clothing quality as possible, and yep, furthermore brand use but furthermore more furthermore brand use synthetic like synthetic and also polyester material which is take a hundred of year to biodegrade uh, and it's really harmful. It's harming our environment, especially relies on the less expensive. As low, what is more of what is more a producer very often used to toxic dyes and other chemicals that are bad for our planet. Okay, and the last is the consider the quality of the past patient itself. Uh, to save our environment, because of the material that they use are not environmentally friendly, uh, are not environment of friendly. For example, in uni Europe, the dries up water sources and pollutes rivers and stream, while 85 percentage of all textile go to dump each year. Even washing clothes release 50 100 tons of microfibers into the oceans each year. The equivalent of 50 billion plastic bottle. This is this is really bad for our environment. Okay. You can still find another idea to like just high quality patient to quiet from this fast fashion. It may expensive, but it's really environmental friendly, and yeah, by this reason we back to propose this motion. Thank you. Nggak apa-apa deh, ini
Thank
both.
you. Thank you, Government Whip. Let's continue the debate with with Opposition Whip. Wait, can you speak
Excuse me.
louder?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Oh
me?
yeah, okay,
I
okay.
forgot for the mic.
Okay.
First, I'd
Now,
like to tie myself. My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm the third speaker of the opposite side of the team. First, I would like to tell you the fact these days that so your solution is to buy second-hand clothes. But if you go to the field and see and buy itself the second-hand clothes, you can see that these second-hand clothes are from, in fact, these fashion industries. If you go to, Karang Sukun, there you can see that most of them are from Uniqlo's, Zara's, etc. I mean that it's not a really solution, because these second-hand clothes exist because of these fast fashion industries. Like you said, most people throw away their throw away their clothes from these fast fashions for about 10 months max. But like my second speaker said before, we can recycle or donate these clothes. I want to donate. These donations can go to the poor countries like Africa, or most of the African continent, because they very lack of clothes. So, like I said before, the second hand, I don't think the second hand is a really good solution, because if this fashion is stopped, the second hand clothes will, I guess, shut down, because this fashion is their main is their main source. So I would like to tell you what our and then like we know most, excuse me, excuse me for a minute. Yes, like I said before, we can recycle it. So like, right now, if you know, if you, I don't know if you read it or not, but the H&M, the giant launching, the giant retail H&M are recently giant launching an eco-friendly campaign. Wait. They right now, excuse me. Okay, several well-known labels such as Stella McCartney, Vivienne Westwood, and Eden have long applied I repeat, have long applied eco-conscious policies in their business, as did the recently growing retail H&M giant, launching an eco-friendly campaign. However, beyond these great names, what one must never forget are fashion labels that knowingly carry friendly ethical codes as their primary philosophy and not just gimmicks. Often referred as an eco-friendly fashion, labels that strive to evolve the fashion industry with sustainable materials, community empowerment, and the code of ethics to minimize negative effects on the environment in many parts of the world, including Indonesia. And so, like my partner said before, instead of disposing their unsold product through incineration or sending them to landfills, we can recycle or donate the surplus clothes instead. These donations are bundled and sent abroad. As a result, for those to send them out, like one in Contamonto and donated there. So I would like to, my solution is we can make these companies go green, and we can make them use this recycled thing. And then excuse me. Yes, like I said, our solution is to recycle it and send it more to other countries so they can feel this fashion with less money. And as you said before, most people, most of the people rely on these fast fashion companies for their clothes. Like if we depend on other, they are much expensive. So some people are stuck with this fast fashion. It's their only choice because it's the only it's the only clothes they can buy with their money. So they stuck with this clothes, and so they stuck with this fast fashion clothes. And excuse me, because they stuck with this fashion clothes, so they can spend less money, but they can still be as fashionable as artists that they can see and magazines and Instagrams. That's all I can, excuse me for the time, but I know that that's all I can say to win this debate. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Opposition Whip. Let's close the debate by welcoming the opposition's reply.
Okay, so I'm the replay speaker of the opposite team. I'm the second speaker. So there are I will explain you how the advantage of a fast fashion for consumer. It's fun to buy a new fashionable clothes and an affordable price quickly. That is also a very detrimental to environment, right? But like what my third speaker say that we can, but what about the clothes that are no longer worn will have a negative impact on the environment, right? So we can donate it. I'm sorry, we can we can donate it to the country that very need to have clothes. I mean, it's so it's gonna be very useful to the country that have that need new clothes. For example, like Africa. So it will not be bad for environment because we can donate it. So I think fast fashion is so helpful to people who want to feel fashionable too, but they don't have enough money. But they can use a fast fashion, as we know that fast fashion is so cheap, like right. So I think be fashionable is must because it can make a people, it can make a people confident by using a fashionable clothes, I think. So I think it's the all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. What is it?
Thank you, opposition reply, for the concluding speech. Let's officially close the debate by welcoming the government's reply.
I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, I think opposition team didn't get what what we talk about on how they say that their solution is to ask the company to go green and etc. We already told you the secret of this industry on how they burn all their clothes because they couldn't sell all of those because of their image. They're afraid of on how people wouldn't go to the store because they know that on how these clothes are so many and etc. You say that they will go green or recycle and etc. Realizing on how recycle need a lot of money, this company don't want to do that because they would like to gain money as much as possible by producing a lot of skirts, clothes with a low quality. And harming their worker, and it's really bad for the human, for the human, and also it's really bad for the environment itself. Panel realizing on how opposition didn't even respond to our case on how we say that it's really not environmentally friendly, it's really bad for human health, on how they treat their worker in their company, on how this worker get low salary but they have to work like 14 hours per day and etc. And when you say that you are going to donate and etc, we already told you on how if you donate this, even if you do, when you donate your clothes, you still buy and buy more and more clothes from this company, which is you support this company harming our environment. You support this company to continuously broke our earth, continuously causing global warming and the human health problem and etc. Ladies and gentlemen, when they also say that on how the second hand from Zara and etc., I have ever buy a second hand clothes, but I don't think I have found the Zara or H&M product, because you can choose that. It's really better rather than you are continuously buying a new clothes which is can cause or harming our environment, which is really bad for the next, for our next generation, even for our health itself. As we know that the company gain as much as money as they can, and you have to buy more and more clothes every year, it's really bad, right? You consuming a lot of clothes and then you will donate to the poor country and then you will buy it again and etc. It still cause the problem of environmental problem, right? So what we need from the opposition team is that they should give us the solution for the environmental problem, because we talk about on how this company is the one that caused a lot of problem in our earth, right? Such as my first speaker already told you on how this they use a cheap material and it's dangerous, and it also cause water pollution and pose a risk to human health and etc. It's better for us to buy a second hand clothes, which is really good, to not supporting this kind of company which is cause a global warming and etc. We say that you have to vote for our team for the better future for our next generation, which we don't want to continuously support this company by continuously consuming their product and etc. We say that this company should stop produce this product that harming the human, animals, and the future for our Earth itself, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, government's reply, and that concludes our debate today. Thank you, everyone, for making it this far and for the speeches. This will not be a silent round, so I will be back in a few minutes with my adjudication and my decision. Yeah, give me like 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be back. You don't have to leave the room. Thank you.